This is the luncheon edition of Triple N News for Tuesday, November 8th. In the headlines, Phase 1 of Hotel Project to commence in St. Patrick. West Indies fast bowler nominated for Caribbean Sports Journalists Association Sports Awards. U.S. choosing their president, and Russia says it will not allow any U.S. diplomats to monitor any future Russian elections. Former St. Lucia Foreign Minister believes U.S. election in favor of Clinton. The luncheon edition of news comes to you compliments Flo. We'll have the details when we return.
I'll take a small.
XL! That's the size for me! Flo's new prepaid combo plans have the most choice and value for everyone. Save up to 90% by combining your talk, text, and data into one simple plan. And with options starting at just $18.99, it's easy to say it, type it, or share it. A whole lot more for a whole lot less. Dial *129# now to activate. The bigger you go, the bigger you save with Flo's new prepaid combo plans. This is how we flow.
With the details, I am Mina Booker. Work is soon to begin on the Rivera Beach Resort. We get details from Brandon Wells.
We guarantee that it will continue to move forward from this point on. We've committed. We put our heart, our soul, our money, everything that we can into this, and we've got many wonderful people who are starting to join us.
We have already started the project. We've had over 10 workers working for close to a year, cleaning the project. We have cut new roads. We are already cutting the foundation site pads for the first 14 cottages.
Randy Ovenson, director of Rivera Beach Resort, Grenada. The project is a 375-acre hotel and residential project which has been approved by the Grenada Citizenship by Investment Program. The first of the 4-phase project will include the construction of the Turtle Beach Resort, which will encompass an 80-unit boutique hotel, 40 hotel cottages, 20 casitas and villas, restaurants, pool, spa, and an organic orchid. The resort is located nearby Rivera National Park and borders the Caribbean Sea. The development team has pledged environmental responsibility and sustainability.
As the first phase is opened, there'll be over 100 people employed in this very place. And when the entire project is done, it'll provide over 400 jobs to the island of Grenada.
Prime Minister Kit Mitchell sees different persons stand to benefit.
As activities increase, the Bathway, Rivera activities, but the locals enjoying the beauty of this place will expand. The little shops around different parts, whether it's Hermitage, River Sally, St. the Sotez Tongue, the hairdressing businesses, the tailors, the carpenters, different persons will in fact benefit, and of course, the retail sector.
In other local news, the island just has under 3 years to fully prepare itself to implement policies to combat money laundering and terrorist financing. With the 4th round of evaluation underway, Grenada is due for evaluation in 2019. Cadrington Hood is the chairman of the Anti-Money Laundering and Terrorist Financing Commission.
The 4th round of mutual evaluation, which is upcoming, focuses on not our legislation, because that was the last round and we did a lot of work there, but what it is going to focus now is on our readiness to implement and how ready we are and how we are actually implementing all of those principles that we have prepared for.
He says we will be evaluated by experts drawn from the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force area. Cooperations from the Bar Association, he adds, is key since perceptions of the jurisdiction can affect the image of the country.
If it is perceived that we are not prepared as a jurisdiction, if it is perceived that we are not ready to fit into the international scheme, it is going to hurt all of us.
Grenadian-born lecturer at the University of the West Indies, Dr. Wendy Grenade, is urging all to vote come referendum day, November 24th. She says the Constitution affects every citizen in one way or the other.
The Constitution is about us and the parameters that govern how we live, how we work, how we engage with one another and with the world. The Constitution and any form of constitution reform matters to us individually and collectively as an independent people.
She praised Grenadians for their discussion and display in citizen activism in the constitution reform process. This, she says, is one which our foreparents will be proud.
My sisters and brothers, as we discuss the serious business of the referendum and constitution reform, we owe a debt to their struggle and we honor their memory. What we are doing is taking a small but bold step as part of a larger journey.
That's local news for you on Tuesday, taking a look at what's coming up in sports.
Coming up in sports, results from the first day of matches in the Grenada General Insurance Senior Open Tennis Tournament. West Indies fast bowler nominated in 2 award categories, and Stephen Curry sets new NBA record. These stories and more into the sporting segment.
Welcome sporting fans to the luncheon edition of Triple N Sports. The 2016 Grenada General Insurance Senior Open Tennis Tournament served off on Monday, November 7th at the Tantine Tennis Court. Looking at the results from the opening matches in the men's single, Brad Bowen defeated Yusuf Ross 6-1, 6-0. Carl Phillip defeated Marcus Forrester 6-0, 6-0. Jason Stanislaus defeated Christian Warner 6-1, 6-2. Nickel Williams won by default over Jeremy Emmanuel. Over in the women's single, Diane Fack defeated Kezia Gilchrist 6-4, 6-0. The tournament continues on Wednesday, November 8th, with the matches in men's single, women's singles, men 50 and over singles, and mixed doubles. First serve on Tuesday begins at 4:30 p.m. In cricket, West Indies fast bowler Alzari Joseph has been nominated for 2 categories ahead of this year's Caribbean Sports Journalists Association Sports Award. The Young Antiguan has been nominated for both Junior Sportsman of the Year and Rising Star of the Year awards, which will be announced on November 18th. Joseph was part of the successful West Indies youth team who won the Under-19 World Cup in Bangladesh earlier this year. For the Rising Star of the Year accolade, Joseph will face stiff competition from the West Indies Under-19 teammate Shimron Hetmar of Guyana and Bahamas' basketball player Buddy Hield, amongst others. Still in cricket, 19-year-old opener Haseeb Hamid will make his England debut against India in the opening test in Rajkot on Wednesday. The match will go ahead despite the Board of Control for Cricket in India threatening to cancel the match over a financial dispute with the courts. Hamid will become only the second teenager to play Test cricket for England since 1949. Ben Duckett, who opened the recent Test series against Bangladesh, will replace Gary Balance at 4. England captain Alistair Cook said they have been hugely impressed with the way Haseeb has gone about his business on this tour. In athletics, Mary Kearney of Kenya won her 3rd consecutive New York City Marathon on Sunday, clocking a time of 2 hours 24 minutes 26 seconds and leaving her closest competitors in the dust. She pulled away from the elite women's pack less than halfway into the race and ran most of the race alone. Katani said to be excluded from Kenya's Olympic team that motivated her to work hard to win the New York City Marathon.
After when I was not being selected, because when I was in Kenya I was a reserve, but I said, okay, let me just prepare myself well to go and defend my title well. And that's why I did it because I had enough time to prepare myself for this the TCS New York City Marathon, and I did it. So it was lovely to me, and I appreciate my family for supporting me during training and also having enough time to recover after the training.
In basketball, Stephen Curry claimed a record 13 three-pointers in a single game as Golden State Warriors beat New Orleans Pelicans 116-106 on Monday. The reigning NBA Most Valuable Player had shared the previous record of 12 three-pointers with Kobe Bryant and Daniel Marshall. His history-making exploits came 3 days after the 28-year-old failed to record a three-pointer in a game for the first time in 2 years. Curry had previously gone to a record of 157 games with at least one three-pointer. In boxing, American UFC interim light heavyweight champion John Jones has been banned for a year after claiming he took a contaminated pill for erectile dysfunction. The 29-year-old tested positive for 2 banned substances in June and was pulled from the UFC 200, where he was due to face Daniel Cormier in Las Vegas. The suspension imposed by the United States Anti-Doping Agency is backdated to July. In a statement to ESPN, Jones said he had hoped for a better outcome. That's sporting news for you on Tuesday. Coming up in the international segment, US voting to choose their president, and Russia says it will not allow any US diplomats to monitor any future Russian elections. These stories and more shortly in the international segment.
I'll take a small.
XL! That's the size for me! Flow's new prepaid combo plans have the most choice and value for everyone. Save up to 90% by combining your talk, text, and data into one simple plan. And with options starting at just $18.99, it's easy to say it, type it, or share it. A whole lot more for a whole lot less. Dial *129# now to activate. The bigger you go, the bigger you save with Flow's new prepaid combo plans. This is how we flow.
Welcome back in international developments. In the US, the first voters have cast their ballots to choose their president on Tuesday. After a grueling campaign, it comes down to this showdown between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Details from this report.
As the clock struck 12 Tuesday morning Eastern Time, the first votes were cast in the little town of Dixville Notch, New Hampshire, officially kicking off Election Day. The first polls will close at 6 p.m. in Indiana and 7 p.m. in the key battleground state of Florida. And by 9 o'clock, voters would have finished voting in 40 of 50 U.S. states. And that means by the evening, any time between 9 and 11 p.m., there may be a clear winner. Leelington, New York.
Another reporter, Steve Mortis, says the race is a tough one.
The Democrats are pointing to some of the early voting data to suggest that they may have an advantage here in Florida and other swing states. Why do they say that? Well, they say they see a very large increase in the number of Latinos going to the polls. The Hispanic voting bloc has traditionally been an important constituency for Democrats, and they've seen an uptick in the number of Latinos going to the polls in this election. But the Trump campaign points to another trend in other swing states where we've seen large increases in white, working-class voters, particularly in Rust Belt states, that they're hoping to pick up, turn some of those traditionally blue states red this time around.
The Australian government's proposal to hold a national vote on legalizing same-sex marriage has been defeated in the upper house of Parliament. The government said a non-bidding ballot was the quickest way to amend the Marriage Act. Same-sex couples can have civil unions or registered relationships in most Australian states, but they are not considered married under national law. However, opposition parties and many supporters of same-sex marriage argued a plebiscite would be expensive and could unleash a divisive campaign. The proposal's defeat in the Senate means the issue will be taken off the agenda at least until the next term of Parliament. Abhorrent acts of sexual abuse, exploitation, and violence have shaken peacekeeping in the UN to its core, under Secretary General Herve Ladsu said at a launch of the UN Police Week in New York. The 2015 organization uncovered 99 allegations of sexual abuse and exploitation, and 69 of these were in countries where peacekeeping operations are deployed. Speaking directly to police leaders at the annual gathering, he reminded them that with great power comes great responsibility. Here's UN spokesman Stephanie Dujarric.
The UN police face three major challenges: the protection of civilians, performance, and accountability. He said the abhorrent acts of sexual abuse and exploitation and violence have shaken peacekeeping and the UN to its core, and he noted that the Secretariat is taking action on three fronts: prevention, accountability, and victim assistance. Mr. Latsus asked the police leaders to ensure that officers understand what it means to be a peacekeeper. He added that with great power comes great responsibility.
Russia says it will not allow any U.S. diplomats to monitor any future Russian elections. Details from this report.
The Russian Foreign Ministry has sent a diplomatic note to the U.S. authorities telling them that U.S. diplomats will not be allowed to conduct monitoring of future Russian elections. Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov said that the move was Russia's response to what it says was U.S. obstruction of Russian diplomats seeking to monitor Tuesday's U.S. presidential election for possible violations. In October, at least 3 states have said no to a Russian request to send its diplomats to monitor polling stations on election day. The Russian request to monitor elections came after Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump has raised the prospect that the election could be rigged. According to the State Department spokesman Mark Toner, Russians had the opportunity to monitor the American election through the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, but they have chosen not to. He added that Russia's decision not to join the OSCE missions make clear this issue and this story are nothing more than a PR stunt. Julia Lyubova, Moscow.
That's international developments for you. Coming up in the regional segment, former St. Lucia Foreign Minister believes U.S. election in favor of Clinton. Welcome back in regional news. Former St. Lucian Foreign Minister Rufus Busquet has asserted that the pathway to victory for Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump is very steep. As a result, Busquet does not believe Trump will win the elections on Tuesday. He was of the opinion that any enthusiasm for the Democratic contender Hillary Clinton has to be dampened by the realization that in the recent past that there have been a number of surprises in the election process. He explained that as a result, some persons are leaving the door open to the possibility of a Trump victory. The former foreign minister told the Times that statistically it is quite clear that Hillary Clinton has a huge edge. Trinidad's National Security Minister Edmund Dillon has called on the Acting Commissioner of Police Stephen Williams to re-strategize crime-fighting techniques in order to get the alarming murder rate, which stood at 396, down.
Edmund Dillon was informed on Monday that Northern Division accounts for 91.8% of the nation's murders, followed by the Central Division, which accounted for 36.1%. Dillon held a 2-hour meeting with Williams and the commanders of the 2 divisions, Senior Superintendent McDonald Jacob, Northern, and Acting Senior Superintendent Kenny McIntyre, Central, to give them a clear mandate to re-strategize and bring down the murder toll. For the same period last year, 367 murders were committed, Dillon told Newsday. Following the triple murders last Saturday, he was alarmed by what was taking place in the Northern and Central Divisions, hence his reason for summoning the officers to a meeting on Monday. Dillon said the crime spree is not acceptable and every life lost is a certain to him and the government. He assured every additional resource will be deployed to ensure lives are saved and persons intent on ending the lives of fellow citizens will be flushed out and brought to justice. He said society society could no longer deal with the spate of murders, and a clear message has to be sent to the criminal element that enough is enough and all lives are important. During the meeting, Dillon asked the top cop and his senior officers to put new measures in place to deal effectively with the spate of murders, and also demanded results, telling the officers the public is equally concerned about their safety because of the killings. Williams, along with Jacob and McIntyre, vowed to deliver the necessary results and promised the public will see sweeping changes in the coming days which will benefit their communities in the two divisions. Shaquila McDonald, Triple N News.
Acknowledging that unemployment rates in St. Vincent and the Grenadines are high, Economic Planning Minister Camilo Gonzalez is of the opinion that this is due to insufficient jobs to employ every Vincentian who has a degree or the right qualifications.
Highlighting various government initiatives while addressing a town hall meeting in Toronto, Canada recently, Minister Gonzalez stressed the need for growth in the Vincentian economy, which he said will lead to the creation of more jobs. He noted that growth will come through the development and enhancement of sectors such as tourism and also by fostering a sense of entrepreneurship within the Vincentian society, especially among the nation's youth.
Of the unemployment in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is unskilled labor. It is not skilled labor. What you get is that there are a number of people immediately after graduation who don't have a job. So if you do the survey in July, August, you'll hear that there are a lot of young people who don't have jobs. So they've just come out of college. And if you do the same study in January, you'll see that the number is a lot lower because they found work. People feel that when they come out of school, they must get a job with the government instead of being an entrepreneur and starting their own business or working in the private sector. And it's because we have a private sector still.
Noting that the issue of unemployment is most serious among persons who do not possess the requisite skills or formal qualifications, Minister Gonzalez pointed out that his government's aim is to create more opportunities for these individuals to become skilled, especially in the technology field.
Although tsunamis are rare, failing to prepare for them could exact a heavy price. That was the message from UN Secretary General on Saturday, which was observed as the first ever World Tsunami Day. Details from this report.
The UN Secretary General pointed out that early warning systems have become more sophisticated with time, including in the wake of the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. More than 220,000 people died in that tragedy, which led to the establishment of the Indian Ocean Tsunami Warning and Mitigation System. Mr. Bond said tsunamis can also threaten major infrastructure, citing the Great East Japan earthquake and tsunami in March 2011, which claimed many lives, left many more homeless, and triggered a meltdown at the Fukushima nuclear power plant. World Tsunami Awareness Day, therefore, serves as a reminder of the importance of reducing current and future levels of risk, he stated. Mr. Bond said though tsunamis may be rare, like with any other natural hazard, if we fail to prepare and raise awareness, then we risk paying a heavy price. Deanne Penn, United Nations.
Guyana's gold production is set to surpass 600,000 ounces. That's 50,000 more than the initial target.
Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman says most of the production is being driven by the efforts of small miners. Gold production has increased from 385,000 ounces in 2014 to 456,000 ounces last year. A total of 545,742 ounces of gold had been declared up to the end of October, just shy of the 550,000 target. The remainder of the production thus far has been contributed by two of the large gold companies, Guyana Goldfields and Troy Mining Resources. The amount produced by the two was reported to be 125,065.32 ounces and 58,750.7 ounces respectively. Vandal Joseph, Triple N News.
That's regional news for you on Tuesday. Taking a look at the weather. The weather is expected to be partly cloudy with a few brief showers, increasing in cloudiness tonight with some widely scattered showers and the possible isolated thunder shower. Today's maximum temperature 31.5 degrees Celsius. Winds east-northeasterly to east-southeasterly at 12 to 22 miles per hour. Seas light to moderate, waves 3 to 5 feet in open water. Tides high at 9:30 a.m. and low at 4 p.m. The weather concludes the luncheon edition of Triple N News for Tuesday, November 8th. On behalf of the news team, I am Mina Booker. Thank you for joining us.